give a shout out to the SAL, Southern Amateur League, at Glemnet SAL on Twitter and www.southernamateurleague.co.uk. We also give a shout out to the Amateur Football Alliance, the Amateur FA, at Amateur FA on Twitter and www.amateur-fa.com. Ibis Football Club are the first team we always feature on the grassroots segment. Ibis Football Club, IBIS Football Club at gmail.com is where to email if you want to play for the club. We're looking for players, especially a keeper for the fours. But also facebook.com/IBIS.FC is the Facebook page. Twitter.com/IBIS_football. At IBIS_football is the Twitter page. Tweet with them, follow them. And also ibisfc.co.uk is the official website ran by JT, aka John Timmins. Training is every Wednesday from 7:30pm until 9pm at the Battersea Park all-weather AstroTurf pitches just off Prince of Wales Drive next to the Children's Adventure Playground. Match days are on Saturdays anywhere within the M25. So where you play, north, south, east or west, is dependent on whether you play for the ones, twos, threes or fours. So if you're playing for the fours, you'll be playing with me, Liam Angel, aka Straight Shooting LJA. If you're playing for the threes, you'll be playing with Ollie Roberts, Toby Moore-Morris, and more of the guys in the threes. If you play for the twos, you'll be playing with Ollie Wooding, Bloggy, and some of the other guys up there too. So it's all good. And if you're playing for the ones, you'll be playing with Ben Pierre, guys like Ben Pierre, Alex Minchell, aka Minch, among others as well. Big shout out also to Tristan Popel, who plays twos regularly as well. But you know what? The results from the 29th of March 2014, the twos won 3-2 against South Bank. Against South Bank Quaco with Penny Cook, James Soy and Callum Scott scoring. The Ibis Freeze lost 3-1 against Norseman, with Scott Fanning getting the only goal of the game. And the Ibis Fours, we won. We had a double header. We won the first game 1-0 with Elliot Mitchell getting the only goal of the game. And we lost the second game 1-0. So it's one of them ones. I'm going to get into a match report on that right now because, as I said, Civil Service 6 hosted Ibis FC. But yeah, man, no yellows, no reds this week. But the starting lineup was myself, Straight Shooting LJ, aka Liam Angel, in goal. Carl Bolton, John Ewins, and Christian Frixu in the back line. Jordan Mills and Callum Mayfield as wing backs. Musi Goyrom, Elliot Mitchell, Henoch Walderslassie, Andrew Williams and Manny Tesfaye making up the 11. The subs were Isaac Penza and Pete Snell. Now, double, toil and trouble. Well, it was double and toil without much of the trouble. As we had a doubleheader this weekend, to add a bit of spice, it was a local derby with Civil Services' sixth side. We had a full squad. 14, including birthday boy Pete, who was carrying a couple of injuries from the week before. And on the morning, there were rumblings of Manny being able to bring someone along, but that didn't happen in the end. But on my way to the ground, I actually bumped into Isaac Penza on my way. I actually bumped into Isaac, who was struggling to find the King's House Sports Ground, which is a bit awkward to find, as there are actually a couple of well-concealed entrances to the ground. But Henoch actually was the last man to arrive because he'd gone to a home ground by accident. So it was one that was, fortunately though, with some direction from Ollie Wooden, who is the twos captain, and Manny, he actually found us in the end, so it was all good. So after a bit of banter in the changing rooms, we made our way out and got into some attack, defense via attack corner routines, so we'd be organised. I started in goal, and in front of me I started with 3-5-2 formation that I thought worked well when we went down to 10 men against West Wickham. But so I thought I'd use it to start with at the very least and see how it went. We had Carl at the centre of a three-man defence along with John Ewins and Christian Frixu. We had Jordan Mills as right wing back and Callum Mayfield as left wing back. And then a three-man centre midfield. We had Henoch Walderslassie, Musi Goyrom and Elliot Mitchell, and the two-man attack of Manny Tesfaye and Andrew Williams. So we had a three-man bench including Isaac Penza and Pete Snell. And after my pre-match team talk, which consisted partly of we need these crucial 3 points just to have any chance of staying up. And we want all 6, not just 3. We actually started very well, actually, especially when we were playing the ball along the ground. The partnerships between people were actually blossoming, and we were carving out chances and good passages of play. But it actually was a moment of luck that got us the goal that turned out to be the winner in match 1. In the first half, due to an enormous slope in the pitch, again, facilities, grassroots facilities. G-Man, take it easy, man.
There's everyone.
And he's off. But it was one of them was we had an advantage, and Elliot's goal looked hit and hope from my vantage point in goal. But it was a goal which Elliot hit from distance, and not only did the solid ground help it bounce up and over the goalkeeper, but also the wind took it as well. And that gave us a half-time lead. Civils actually looked a bit frustrated and annoyed that they conceded, and that they were being outplayed when we kept the ball on the deck, because we outplayed them in the first match. But also it's one of them ones where we went out for the second half buoyed by having the lead and seeing their frustration, Civils. And we defended well with the hill and the wind against us in this half. I stayed as close to my goal as possible after what happened a couple of weeks ago. This one then was with me getting lobbed. But it's a case of, but apart from a few saves, including one which bobbled right in front of me, and I had to push wide, I wasn't really overly troubled, to be perfectly frank. Civil service did give us a couple of minor warnings, but I did bring on Isaac for Jordan to freshen things up a bit on the right-hand side of midfield. We ended up deservedly winning the first game, and in my post-match team talk after the game, I wanted to keep the guys on their toes and up for the second match, because at the end of the day, in the double header, one match completed is only half the job done. But second match began and we lost the toss, so we had to play uphill in the first half. But we did pick up an injury midway through the half, which meant a quick reshuffle with me coming out of goal, and after the evergreen Carl Bolton actually picked up an injury. So I haven't seen much. I haven't seen him pick up injuries much, but it looked like more of a pull. I think it was a hammy pull. But it was one of them. So John Ewan switched to the centre of defence with me going as the left centre back of the three. And in the first half, we got lucky a good couple of times actually, because Civils did get in behind us from wide positions, and from the wide positions, and I felt personally a bit rusty. But part of that was actually due to me not expected to come out of goal as early as I did. But originally I actually had the plan of switching goalkeepers from the first at full time with the first match. But for consistency's sake, I felt I'd keep myself in goal. But hey, and keep the same side that finished the previous match. But as plans will be, plans will go awry. But and Mike Coleman, that's disgusting. Hey, how would you know? But anyway, Carl's injury had meant a reshuffle, but we also lost Hennock during the second match to injury. He'd been kind of in the wars a bit anyway. But I had to do another reshuffle with Manny dropping into centre midfield and Jordan coming back on using the rolling subs. Jordan coming back on and going up top alongside Andrew to rekindle that partnership. We conceded a goal which actually turned out to be the decisive goal in the second half of the second match, which was a diagonal ball over the top, which was frustratingly out of my reach, so I tried to header it. And even with Callum covering, their guy actually got in behind us, and from our wide left, and scored what looked like kind of a scuffed effort that bounced in past our keeper and left us with about 10 minutes to find a reply. So this one of them was, but there was only one negative from the match in general actually, and that was an awful challenge on Isaac Penza from a guy at least twice his size, which I legitimately was not happy about. I wasn't happy about the tackle. I actually wasn't happy about it at all, because he went in 2-footed and he could have actually really hurt Isaac, who's a diminutive figure anyway. And at the end of the day, the Civils player saw a deserved yellow, and the referee even admitted to me after the match that it could have been red. He could have actually seen red. In the second game, I got to say, Civils did deserve it. They did deserve the win. And even our ref afterwards said that to me as well. I mean, Civil hit the bar a couple of times. They did hit the post too. So it was one of them. I mean, Jordan was unlucky not to draw us level in that second game after hitting the post in the second half of the second game. But full time came, and as disappointed as we were to only get one win, the important thing was that we got a crucial 3 points on our quest for survival. So to a man, once again, I couldn't fault the effort put forth by everyone in both games. I mean, a doubleheader is always difficult anyway, back-to-back matches. But we've got another doubleheader coming up, and a Tuesday game 3 days later. So we've got a doubleheader coming up against Old Wilsonians this coming weekend, which is Saturday, April 5th. And then 3 days later on the Tuesday, we host Polytechnic, their sevens, at our home ground. And if you remember earlier in the season, they were the guys who beat us 13-2 after we played with 9 men. So we owe them a beating. We not only owe them a beating, we owe them a severe beating. But it's one of them ones. We got to roll the sleeves up, put the work in, and make ourselves available. Because at the end of it, as much as we can. So I'm straight shooting LJ, and that's my take on the game. So it's one of them ones, man. Hard times. But well, it was one of them ones, man. Difficult game. I'm still a bit sore from it now. But hey, I had a cold bath after the game. Big shout out to my teammate Pete Snell, by the way, because it was one of them. Was pretty much home, little bite to eat, cold bath or ice bath, then a hot shower, and then back out. So it was one of them ones for Pete's birthday. So it was one of them ones, man. It was mad. But also in the grassroots segment, we also mentioned Haringey Borough Women's FC, who are located in Coles Park, White Hart Lane, Tottenham, London, N17 7JP. They also have a Facebook group, which is a private one, but ask nice if they let you. At HBWFC1 on Twitter, and their email is hbwfctwitter@gmail.com, and their website, which is going up soon, is www.haringeywomenfc.co.uk. They train on Tuesday evenings from 7:30 until 9:30 p.m. at Northumberland Park Community School, Truelock Road, London, N17 0PG, and their match days are on Sundays. I think they actually lost 4-1 this week. So it's one of them. But also, want to give a big shout out, actually, as mentioned earlier in the show, to Teddington Athletic under 12 girls who are actually on Twitter as they're actually on Twitter as the, just trying to find their Twitter handle, at TAFC U12 Girls is their Twitter handle. At TAFC U12 Girls is the Teddington Athletic under 12 girls. From Sunday 9th of March, Colne Valley Blues, they were facing the Colne Valley Blues away, and they won 2-0. 2-0, this is a match report. A match report courtesy of their Twitter account. From Sunday 9th of March, 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline, said the TV commentator. Yeah, chuckled his sidekick pundit, but it's better than some of the alternatives. Compared to some of the alternative scorelines posted by Teddington Athletics under 12 girls team this season, 2-0 may not be that impressive, but this was a fascinating learning experience for the entire squad. Given a complete squad to pick from, manager Dave W chose to rest Ella V. The trouble with being the manager's daughter, as the gaffer grinned, before benignly handing over the management duties to his assistant. With Dave promising to stay quiet, mainly, and Gary warning the girls beforehand that he would largely leave them to make their own decisions in play, it made for a curiously quiet experience, but one which will have done the girls good. I love that. The starting lineup was a mixture of experience and experiment. Back in her number 10 role, Emily Coulson was typically composed behind frontrunner Aol Fenn. And it was that combination which broke the deadlock just after 4 minutes. Emily slipping in Ali. Apologies if I've gotten that wrong. Through, and the striker sending the ball in off the left post. In front of farewelling goalkeeper Charlotte Ward, back in defensive harness were Millie Theobald and Saskia Brewster, perhaps the team's most regular defensive pairing over the course of the season. The same couldn't be said for the central midfield combination of Ella Parkinson-Mearns and Millie McEachran. I hope I've said that one right. But the two went about their business with relish. Millie Mack continued to build her budding on-field relationship with left-sided partner Sinead Morris, who was her usual dashing self. To her right, the increasingly calm in possession Parky set about establishing a similar understanding with Amy Hallett, or whoever happened to be playing wide right. For Teddington, had plenty of options with 4 subs to call on, and 2 of them combined to create the other biggest chance of the half. Intelligent as ever, Phoebe Head had heeded the advice about the option of playing the ball into space in front of a teammate and sent Sadie Day speeding through, but the ever-improving Sadie didn't quite manage to double the lead. After the break, Ruby Rudkin and Sophie Wallman added enthusiasm in midfield, and the deputising assistant gave players more experience in new roles. During one 5-minute period adapted to the ongoing substitutions, Amy played in all 3 front-running positions. Guesting on the left wing for portions of the second half were Millie Mack and toward the end Saskia. Such switches may have seemed slightly arbitrary. Certainly Sinead and Phoebe were understandably unimpressed to be withheld from active duty, but they allowed the girls to get more experience in different roles. The aim is to get all players comfortable in possession, diligent in their own half, and dangerous in the opposition's. Next season may bring tougher challenges requiring more flexibility in formation and play. One such switch reaped rewards halfway through the second half. Amy had been moved wide left, the better to cut inside onto her stronger foot, and it was when doing so that she found substitute striker Phoebe, who beat the defender to tuck the ball home. In their 18 games, Teddington's young girls have displayed enormous enthusiasm and a winning willingness to learn. That's actually quite a tongue twister. Winning willingness. 6 months and 1 day after their debut game, their first season ended as it started with a confident victory 2-0 in the sunshine at someone else's ground. In between, they have learned a lot and will hopefully continue to do so for a long time yet. Whatever happens in the post-season friendlies and tour, these girls will be able to say that they went a full league season unbeaten, invincible, and winning every single game. Even Arsenal can't even claim that because they drew a couple. Especially that one against Portsmouth where Robert Pires dived over Arian Dezou's leg. Remember that one. But Teddington Athletic, 2-2-3-1. You had Charlotte Ward, Millie Theobald, Saskia Brewster, Ella Parkinson-Mearns, Millie McEachran, Amy Hallett, Emily Coulson, Sinead Morris, Ali Fairn, who scored. The subs were Sadie Day, Sophie Wallman, Ruby Rudkin, and Phoebe Head, who scored. Kennington Manor was the location they played in, and it was bright sunshine were the weather conditions. So, Teddington Athletic FC finished, played 20, won 20, drew none, lost none, 499 against 10, goal difference 89, and finished with 60 points. To give you an illustration of how dominant Teddington Athletic girls were, the under-12s, Kempton Girls FC played 18, won 13, drew none, lost 5, 470 against 23, goal difference 47, points 39, and that's second place. So it's one of them was big shout outs. As said, a big time shout out to Teddington Athletic girls under 12 sides. Big shout outs. You could check out their blogs actually on teddingtonathletic.blogspot.co.uk. That's teddingtonathletic.blogspot.co.uk. Check out the Teddington Athletic under 12 girls blogs there. It's good stuff. Great stuff. Gotta say, it's fantastic stuff.